Hi friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Jasmine. So today I have some plant chores that I need to do. So the past few weeks have been really busy for me, so I've gotten a little bit behind on plant chores. I did a bunch of watering already. I've been really just keeping up with the watering, just because we're still building the trailer, which is almost done. And we bought a house, so we went down there over a few days ago, and we're just waiting to close on the house, so that's pretty exciting. But I wanted to get some chores done today, so I thought that it is probably about time I repotted my philodendron caramel marble. I've had this plant probably probably more like 9 months now, maybe even a year, I don't know exactly. But when I got it, it was just this little itty bitty like plug. And so I put it in sphagnum moss, and I've just had it in this jar ever since. And I keep it under my cloche, which I still plan to do. But I do think it's time to get it into some soil. So I'll kind of, you see the roots on this plant are really cool looking. They're like pink, which I think is really neat. And I have two different pots. I thought originally about just putting it in this little like 2-inch pot, but I'm kind of gonna wait until I see what the roots look like, and I might end up putting it in this 4-inch pot. I just haven't decided yet. We'll just see what it looks like. I kind of want to do the smaller pot so that it can fit in the cloche easier, but I also want to give it enough room to grow in new roots and not dry out too quick. So let's go ahead and start taking this out. I purposely wanted to do this because the moss is fairly dry. It's still got some moisture to it, but it's going to be pretty easy to move. Just being really gentle. You do kind of have to be careful when you pot plants into containers like this, that the lip is smaller than the width of it, but I got it out. This is what it looks like. The roots all look really healthy. There might be one, no, that's sphagnum moss. Yeah, they're all really healthy, so I'm just going to take the moss off of it now. I'm just kind of trying to very gently massage the roots so that the moss will loosen up. I know some roots are going to get damaged just by me taking the moss off, but I'm not too worried, and I'm just trying to be as gentle as I can. About us moving to Florida, I don't know if I've mentioned that on my channel before, that we plan to move to Florida, but we do plan to move to Florida here in probably a few months when our lease is up here. We have a close friend who lives down there, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very grateful that we were able to find a house, because as I'm sure anybody who's looked at a house at the housing market recently, they're very expensive, especially in Florida. But we were able to find one pretty cheap, actually really cheap for the area and the size of the house. And ripped one root off. That's okay. It is a bit of a fixer-upper, so that's kind of what we wanted anyway. We kind of wanted something to fix up. So here in the next month, when we close on it, we're going to start going down there to work on it a little bit when we can, and then hopefully have it ready for when we're ready to move in. I'm excited for how all my plants are going to do down there. I think they'll adjust really well. and a lot of them will probably end up living outside. So I'm very excited for that. I'm really excited to see, like when we would go visiting, there are like house plants that I struggle to keep alive in my house that are just like growing outside in people's landscapes in Florida. So I'm very excited for it. As well as the coffee trailer being really close to being done. It should be done by the end of this weekend. Today is Saturday, and Wade's working on it right now, just finishing up some last few things, and then here in a little bit I'm gonna go over there and do what I can do. So yeah, we're very grateful to be where we are right now. I'm very much looking forward to the coming months of fixing up and moving into our house. Okay, so I got most of the moss off the roots, and they look pretty good too. Some pretty healthy looking roots, and they're pink, which is just so neat. I don't think he'd like being in this pot because it's just gonna be a little bit cramped. So I think I am gonna go with the 4-inch pot because I think that'll work much better. And what I think I'm gonna do is just mix a little bit of the moss in with the soil mix just to help hold on to some moisture. Ta-da! I think this plant will be much happier now. I'm just going to give it a good thorough watering and put it back under the cloche. I'm going to keep it under the cloche at least for another month or so that it can adjust to being in soil. But then I'm going to have to start adjusting it to being in room humidity because it just won't be able to fit in there for much longer. This leaf is already, you can see it's a little damaged because it was already starting to touch the edge of the glass. So yeah, I'm just gonna adjust it to room humidity, or I'm just gonna let it adjust to being in soil and then work to move it out of the cloche. Okay, yeah, so I wasn't originally planning to film this, but I was repotting Stacy over here, Wade's plant. She's been in this mug in a little cover pot just up on the wall up there. And so I have this little pot that I had kind of cut so that it would fit in here. And I could tell that she needed a repot because um, the new growth has been coming out really tiny and kind of just unhealthy looking. And so I pulled her out, and look at this. There's like, oh gosh, there's so many roots coming out of this. Like, it was just like I had to pry it out of the pot. Looks like they were even starting to grow like upwards a little bit. The roots look fairly healthy, so I'm gonna take I'm gonna take it out of the pot and see. I'm kind of worried about root rot because it didn't have proper drainage really. Like, it was in a nursery pot, but it was still in that. And I might have overwatered it, but we're just gonna take it out of the pot now and see what's going on. Okay, now that I got it out of the pot, I'm just gonna go in and remove the soil. I don't think I need to cut off many roots because they're pretty healthy. So I'm gonna remove the soil and see if I can root divide. Okay, so I've gotten the 2 plants root divided, and this is the first one. It's got some pretty healthy roots on it. It's the smaller one, so I think I'm gonna pot it back into the pot it was in and just keep a better eye on the roots. And this is the larger one that's much longer. And I'm just going to pot it into that. Alright guys, we have repotted Stacy. This is her back in her little pot, climbing back up the wall again. And then this is the bigger piece of the plant that I just have trailing here. Of course, with a cute little mug as a cover pot. Okay, so it's been a few days since my last video. The last thing I recorded, I don't even remember what it was. But today it is really nice outside. It's like 50 some degrees, and so I have all the windows open and I'm having a good time. And I thought maybe today would be a good day to do some repotting. So it's only a couple things. We're gonna be repotting this. We're gonna be repotting my philodendron varicosum, which I had living in my little like cloche for a while it was propagating, and then I decided to adjust it to room humidity because it was getting too big. But it's still just been in sphagnum moss this whole time on my kitchen windowsill, and it's done really well. The only issue is that the moss is drying out really quick, so I figured now that it's pretty well fully adjusted to being outside of the cloche, I figured it would be a great time to repot it. And then the second thing we're repotting today, I'm also very excited about. It's gonna be my little baby cactus. Oh no. I grew from seed, and you can see like the little stem is kind of flimsy, and I think that's because this needs to be buried deeper, because this is the actual cactus, and this should be under the soil. So I'm probably just gonna keep it in the same pot, just give it some fresh soil, and bury it a little deeper so that it can actually grow a bit better. And then the same with the varicose, and I'm probably just going to keep it in the same size pot. I still have those cactus seedlings growing. Maybe I'll go check in on them with you guys here after I'm done with this. But they're doing pretty well. A lot of them have sprouted. Oh, wow. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see the roots right now, but it's pretty well rooted, and the roots look a little bit dry, so I think it'll really appreciate this repot. I don't know if any of you also use Super Thrive, the plant food, like the fertilizer, but I've been using it for a while, and I finally ran out of the first bottle I got. So I went to Lowe's, and I couldn't find the little bottles. All they had were these like much larger ones. So I got it, and I figured, maybe it'll be more diluted. I'll just have to add more of it. But then I was reading the instructions, and for the old recipe, it was like 1 teaspoon or something per gallon of water. And this recipe calls for 4 tablespoons per gallon of water. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense because they watered it down a little bit. That's fine. But then I look at it, and it's like so much more potent looking. So like the other stuff was like kind of like a coffee color. Like it looked like like a watered down cup of coffee. And then this one, it's much darker. It's kind of like, it's a really thick liquid and it looks like mud kinda. But it's really bad smelling too, which it has like fish poop in it, so you know, you don't expect it to smell good. But the other one from previously did not smell that bad. And I decided to only add 1 tablespoon per gallon just because of how potent it was and how like much it smelled. And it still smells really bad even when I water my plants. Like I just, like if I get it on my skin, I have to go wash my hands because it smells really bad. So I don't know if I'm going to keep using it or if I'll just kind of suffer through it. If it doesn't bother me too much. But right now I'm kind of unsure about it. I might just end up diluting it more. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys have any other recommendations for a good, I don't really want like a liquid fertilizer. I want more of a plant food that's like organic. So if you guys have any recommendations for that, please let me know. Okay, I hope I didn't take off too many of the roots when I was taking off the sphagnum moss because some of the roots were kind of dry and brittle. But I think the varicosum will really appreciate this repot. Okay, there we go. And I'm just probably going to put it back in this little panda pot that I have and put it in the same spot. Okay, I'm kind of nervous about this because I don't want to damage any of the roots. And the soil looks really loose. So we will see how easily it comes out. Oh, that was so easy. Okay, so this is the root ball. Can't really see anything, but I'm not gonna disturb it because I don't want to risk any of the roots. Luckily, since it is so small, the spines are still pretty soft, so I don't really have to worry about it hurting my fingers at all. At least not yet. Eventually, I plan to pot this in terracotta, but because it is still so young, it does need the extra moisture right now. Alrighty, look at that. That's so cute. Okay, here's what the little cactus looks like. It's so cute. I am so proud of this just because I've never even considered growing cactus from seeds until I got this one. And now I have that whole little bin that I'm doing. So hopefully I'll have some little friends here soon. But yeah, I'll just keep this back in the same spot it was up there. I keep it sitting in the pot that my aloe and cactus are in. Yeah, super cute. Okay, so I've been looking at my propagation bin, my moss bin, and I've been looking at some of the plants that I have in here. I don't even remember what this is. But I don't know if you can see them. On some of the plants, there's these like little like white bugs. I don't know what they are. But I thought about it and I realized I haven't really cleaned this bin out in a while. So what I think I'm gonna do is pot up anything that's ready to be potted up. Change the moss out. I'm gonna take this moss out, dry it out, boil it to disinfect it, and then clean off any plants that aren't ready to be potted up so that there's hopefully no bugs on them, and then put fresh moss in here with the plants. So I'm just going to start by removing everything from the bin. Okay, sorry about the lighting. It's fully dark outside, but it is time to repot Matt. I know he needed repotted because the leaves are drying out really quick, or the soil is drying out really quick, causing the leaves to wilt. And then I looked on the bottom, and I don't know if you can see them, but there's roots sticking out of the bottom a little bit. So that's how I know he needed repotted. And I think he's in like a, what is this, 4-inch pot now. And I'm gonna move him into this, I think it's a 6-inch, maybe a bit bigger. It's a shallow pot, so I think it'll do well in here with this amount of space. And I haven't repotted this plant in a long time, so I'm very curious to see what happens. So I'm just going to start by taking the leca off the top, which I do plan to re-top dress it with leca. I just am going to need more than this. Okay, so now that I got all the leca out, I am just going to, I'm actually going to use this name tag and kind of go in around the edges and try to loosen up the roots a little bit. You really have to do this with terracotta pots because the roots of most plants tend to stick to the sides, especially once it's dry. They kind of attach to the porous material of the terracotta. So I'm just going in and loosening it up. Okay, I think I've got him loosened enough. And what I'm also gonna do, I'm also just gonna use these like tweezers and go in and kind of push it out like that, and that really helped. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, there's a pretty established root system here. It's pretty root bound. The roots all look really healthy. They do look a little bit dry, so I think that it'll enjoy the repot because then it won't be drying out as quick. And it'll help these roots get even healthier. So let's go ahead and get him in his pot. I saw this trick online where you bury the pot the plant was in, and then you fill in around it. And I'm going to try it. Okay, let's see if this works. It held its shape. So now I should just be able to... Oh. Yeah, now I can just fill in around it. That's pretty nice. Okay, I may have found my new repotting method. Okay, next I'm just going to top dress with some leca. The reason I'm doing it on this plant is mostly just because I like how it looks. But it does have some added benefit of holding in moisture from the plant, or into the plant. And it also helps prevent fungus gnats because they can't, like the eggs can't survive in the soil. So if you cut off like the top of the soil from them, then they can't reproduce. I think that's how it works. Alright, and this is how it looks. Oh, let me put the name tag back in. Ta-da! So now I'm just going to give him a water and he should perk right back up. And I think he'll be really happy having some more room to grow in. Alright friends, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!